let's start off first with McLaren. So McLaren last year they finished, I'm right in saying, fifth in the constructors. They missed out on fourth in there because Danny Rick was doing up a Calabunga dude, shrimp on the Barbie, all that razzmatazz last season. And so they switched out one Aussie for another in Oscar Piastri, very highly rated youngster. So I'm sure there's big expectations of them this season, especially since Andre Salas also moved to Audi slash Alfa Romeo Sauber. So and he brought in Andrea Stella Artois. So Laurence, what is your season expectations for McLaren? Dan?
I think it's quite clear. So, I mean, my expectations are whenever there's any podiums lying around, so any of the top 3 teams, top 6 drivers, if they have a DNF or an incident, lap 1, turn 1, something like that, they're there to pick up the pieces. A couple podiums. And I would say for Lando probably to put it front row, second row on one occasion. Whether that's realistic or not, I'm not sure, given that it was a bit of a horror show at the start of last season, obviously with no breaks at the start. But that's where I'd say that they need to be. But I think in a way that they've kind of brought themselves a bit of time, obviously bringing Piastri in. It kind of gives them a chance to reset, so they can use this year as another transition year. But I think, to be honest, they've got to be sweeping up a couple of podiums at least. Like they got one last year. Obviously, Lando did very well to get that, but I think really, I'd say 3, 4, 5 podiums. That's probably where I'd put them.
So still on mute. Okay. So what about driver lineup? So how do you think Oscar's going to fare against Norris? And what sort of expectations do you have of him compared to, let's say, of Norris? Like, do you expect him to beat Norris? Do you think it'll be shameful if he does get beat by Norris, even by just a little bit? Like, what? Because we obviously have not seen Piastri in F1. We had only gone off his junior career, and if gone off his junior career, he looks like a very promising driver, but we don't know until he steps into that car, especially with all the messing about with, ironically, Alpine and trying to get him and blah, blah, blah. So what is your realistic sort of expectations on Piastri and how you expect him to fare?
Well, obviously better than the guy that just got kicked out of the team. I think it's not that difficult actually to do that, to be fair. But I think if you look at Lando from when he joined 2019, obviously he had a similar junior career to Piastri. So that's where I'd kind of put it. So I'd give him 6, 7 races to kind of get up to speed, be within a couple of tenths. I wouldn't expect him to at all in any race kind of outright have more pace than Lando. But I think if he's in a couple of tenths of him, picking up points when Lando doesn't, then I would say that would be fine. I think McLaren would see that as success. You only had to look at, obviously, last year. It was a one-man band. Danny Rick was there feeling sorry for himself. Lando was out there fighting for his life against Alpine. And obviously, if Danny Rick was even half as good as he used to be, they would have comfortably got 4th place. So I don't think they can afford that again this year, because obviously you might have Aston Martin join the party as well. So I think for Piastri, I'd want consistent points finishes, but the latter half of the points, so your 7th, 8th, 9th, whereas I'd want Lando to be consistently 6th, 7th, and then with a few podiums in there.
Cool. Right. And last but not least, gotta remember my question now. What was your opinions on them last season, basically? So do you feel they massively underperformed? Do you feel like they could have done better? And yeah, basically. And also, what is your predictions for them in the constructors this year? because of course they kind of disappointed last year getting fifth. They maybe it with a competent line could have got fourth.
Yeah.
Season before they finished third. I can't remember. Did they finish third?
Fourth. They got pipped by a Ferrari at the end, didn't they? They got third the year
Yeah,
before that.
They should have
got. Yeah, they should have
third,
yeah.
but got fourth because of a certain Aussie.
Because of
Yeah. So that's millions and millions of pounds that have basically Danny Rick have cost the McLaren just in positional sense, and also paying off his contract.
Wages.
So it was just yeah. So you're talking maybe like I don't know 50. I don't even know what the money difference is.
I think it's 12.
Third and fourth and fifth.
Yeah, I think it's 4 to 5 mil per position, something like that. But I think they underachieved, obviously, I think straight away. But if you look at the car, I remember Bahrain had no brakes. Literally, the car had no brakes for 3 races. You had Danny Rick sitting there feeling sorry for himself. You can't have a car which doesn't work. Obviously, Lando pulled off a podium at Imola. But that was one of those drives where the driver is way past, the ability of the car. And I think, if anything, McLaren have underachieved last 2 years. To be honest, when they finished third, what was that, 2020? They were picking up the podiums here and there. Even obviously 2021 as well. To be honest, they've wasted 2 years. They've wasted a new regulation change. I thought the idea was that obviously the regulation change would bring them a step closer with a view of 2023, 2024 being when they can win the races. They're nowhere near that. It's obviously not going to happen. But they've got a more consistent driver lineup now, which hopefully, obviously with direct, where they can send the car, hopefully next season as well, I expect them to even be within a second of winning a race. But it kind of works out for them. So getting a new driver in, obviously what happened with Danny Rick kind of buys them a year or two. So they can say, oh, well, 2026 is when we'll challenge for the constructors. But you said it would be 2024 3 years ago. So this season, there shouldn't be much patience. I think Lando's now in a position where he is ready to drive the team forward quite drastically. Like some other drivers have. He's been here long enough. He's got podiums. He's got pole position. It's time now. If he can drag that car probably further than where it should be, then next year, that's when I'd expect something more serious. Because as we know, Aston Martin won't be sitting around for much longer. Alpine, obviously, well, I don't really know. They've got a bit of a mixed bag. Depends on how their engine survives. But McLaren, I think they've got a year at most until time's up.
Cool. I'm going to open the floor up here to Kwame. Kwame, would it so? Of course, Piastri was on your books, and then Rafa infamously, kicked up a fuss and started to head to McLaren. Just to stay on McLaren, do you think there'll be much concern if Piastri was to beat Norris over the season? Or do you think it's a win-win either way?
I think it's a win-win for McLaren. It's pretty smart what they've done. They've gone for the best rookie they could have got, the next up-and-coming guy in the market. Him winning F4, F3, F2 back-to-back does show his ability, especially in decent Formula, lower Formula categories. And I feel like they've put themselves in a position where if Norris ever does get pinched by, let's say, Red Bull or Mercedes, they've got Oscar Piastri there. I feel like Zach Brown has done he's been very smart in the fact that he's also, in case if Norris does get pinched, Piastri can then be sure to be that number one driver from McLaren. And also he's got the IndyCar drivers there in the background. I also feel like with the way the driving market's going, for the meantime, I don't see Piastri going to any other places either. So I feel like they've got a young driver there for a good couple of years. They can kind of create their own unit. So, but Alpine's loss definitely is McLaren's game. I've calmed down now since, and I've been a bit more, logically minded by it. And it's a good move. They saw, the young driver at the time, he didn't have a seat. They're like, bring him in, be our test driver. And, they kind of groomed him in, as you do to a young buck. And he's now what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's a good move.
Well, so you're not bitter, no?
Nah, calm down, man. Calm down.
Interesting.
I can't be changing
Cool.
him, man. No more.
He's going to change his mind. Watch after a couple of races when we see
No.
them cooking at Alpine.
No.
You know what's gonna come.
Nah,
You're under
all good.
surveillance,
I feel like
corners.
the mistake was on our side, didn't it? Like, I feel like Otmar and Rossi, you've got a lot to blame for themselves. Like, the management and Alpine, the politics. I'll get into it on our side, didn't it? But big boys for that move.
You're going to be watching Piastri cook while your engines cook. That's what's going to be happening.
Hey, don't worry about the engines, man.
Yeah, that's what we're happening for. Gas Mark 6 engines. That's what your engines are for. They're going to be just cooking. Not in a good way as well. I'm talking about on fire. Don't worry. We'll come to you.
Yeah, definitely. Rafa, do you have any thoughts and opinions on McLaren going into the new season? Do you think they'll do well? Do you think they'll disappoint again? And yeah, just any thoughts in general, really.
I don't know. See with McLaren, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I think they did on the form last year. Listen, they're a bit of a one-man team, innit? And Lando, I don't like his fans. Let me just say that now out there. No, I don't like his fans, but I have to rate him as a driver. Like last year he showed he is that guy. He's got that grinch about him. When things get tough, he gets going in it. So I have to rate him. Going into this season, I think it'll be a bit more of the same, innit? I think the car will be good in some spots, won't be great in others. But Lando will be that level of consistency where, we'll be getting them, 6-7 positions around about that place. And Piastri, I think he'll do well. But yeah, I think he'll be a little behind Lando, expectedly anyway. So, yeah, McLaren a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I think it's going to be up and down for them this season. I think it's going to be much more like last season. Up and down. Start terribly, maybe sort some stuff out during the middle of the season with upgrades. And then, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a bit... I'm not worried about them. Let me just say that. I'm not too worried about them. Innit? I'm only worried about Lando. That's just what I'm mad about.
Yeah, I think the main issue with McLaren is how good Oscar could be out of the bat, because I'm seeing a lot of man gas up Oscar online on social especially, but this guy Kane Shea from F2, we've seen so many drivers in the past. We've seen one of their own, even Van Dorn, who's meant to be the next big thing. It didn't work for him with Alonso. Yeah, I'm not comparing him to Piastri, but we've seen drivers like Hamilton come out and cook. So listen, it could go one way or the other with Piastri, in my opinion, and because he's a rookie, we haven't got everything to judge. So if Piastri is on the same level as Norris, McLaren will cook. If Piastri is worse than Ricciardo, remember Ricciardo's McLaren, he flopped, didn't it? But man's not really a bum per se, you know what I'm saying? Like Red Bull, he's doing his thing. Renault did his thing. Just that McLaren, they work out from the way the car was built, completely different to his driving style. So my thing is, it all depends on Piastri. And I don't put pressure on the kid, innit? Because I'm not putting pressure on the kid, but I feel like if he's even 3/4 level of Norris, McLaren will cook. But if he's Ricardo level or below, it's gonna be 5th, 6th place again for them. So it all depends on Piastri, man. And
they can't afford it. They can't afford another
I know
another B driver.
Listen, and it's not just the drivers as well. Look, and you basically changed gaffers, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a bit. Seidel, I think Seidel's a shrewd guy, and I thought he's a smart guy.
I think it's a bigger loss than people are.
Yeah, I think it's a big.
I don't think people have actually deeped how big that will be. Like, this is the guy obviously with Zach who, has taken McLaren from a joke, obviously, to actually be in a team that could compete. Obviously, 2 seasons ago, to lose him to obviously Audi long term. Yeah,
it's a bit of a stinker, isn't it?
That's quite concerning. I think long term as well. If you look obviously this year, but future wise, if he really had faith in the project long term, he wouldn't have left. Even if he's got CEO role now, but if the project was looking tasty for the future, why would you leave that? So you built it up and then you've left. So that concerns me. Because obviously for Piastri as well, there's not much direction there now for him in terms of Seidel. I think gave the team a really strong, clear identity, and now it's gone. So that does concern me a little bit. But you never know. I mean, they've come back from worse, to be fair, McLaren. So I have the faith.
Yeah, keeping the faith, yeah. I hear that still. I hear that. So,